This is episode 552, Allowing Yourself to Receive Support Without Feeling Guilty with Maryam. Welcome to Life Coaching with Christine Hassler, a space where truth and love come together to guide you back to your truest self. Hi, I'm Christine, a master coach, author, and spiritual psychologist. For over 20 years, I've supported people through the deep work of letting go, waking up, and coming home to who they truly are. Each week, you'll hear an unedited, unscripted coaching session with someone moving through a challenge or block in their life. These are tender and powerful conversations where deep healing happens in real time. Even though I'm coaching someone else, you will hear yourself in their story. This is a place where you will feel seen and supported and walk away with insight, emotional relief, and tools you can apply in your own life. Let's dive into today's session. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. If you're new here, every Wednesday or Thursday, I air a unscripted, unproduced coaching session with someone who I've never spoken to before, where we dive into a variety of events. Even if the subject line doesn't resonate with you, or you think what the caller is calling in about isn't appropriate to what you're dealing with, I think you'll find in every episode, there's something for you, either something for you or something for someone you know or love. So please share this episode, forward it to people. And if you have any time to leave a rating and review of the show, I always appreciate that as well. Today's episode is with Maryam, who's dealing with a lot of guilt around support she's receiving from her husband. Before we dive into this coaching session, I want to acknowledge that my guest today speaks about the tremendous suffering in Iran and what it's been like for her to witness what is happening in her homeland. She's not living there currently. And she's sharing from her own lived experience and perspective. My role in this conversation wasn't to analyze or take a position on this incredibly complex geopolitical circumstance and everything surrounding Iran and just the world at large, but to hold space for the human being in front of me and the grief, fear, trauma, and guilt she was experiencing. There is so much suffering in our world, so much. And compassion for one person's suffering never requires us to minimize or deny anyone else's. And as we talk about in this show, adding suffering that we can actually control doesn't help relieve other people's suffering either. So as you're listening to the show, I want you to think about the things you may be doing. It may be guilt over receiving support. It may be something else. And you know it isn't good for you. And to really think about what underneath is the payoff in that. And how can you coach yourself? How can you work with yourself to actually receive, actually do the things and have the things that you want in your life? Because as we talk about a lot on this show, good will come in, whatever good is. And our system, especially if we've had a lot of trauma and a lot of suffering, will try to recalibrate. And it takes some time. And we talk about this with Maryam. And also, any of us that are empaths, any of us that are just human beings that feel, which is anybody listening, when you see suffering happening, whether it's in your home, in your community, in your culture, or across the ocean, you feel it and you can feel super helpless. And sometimes there's a part of us that's like, well, I have to feel it. I have to suffer. Like they're suffering, I have to suffer. And what we have to ask ourselves is, does that help? And usually the answer is no. And so we ask ourselves instead, what does? And I feel Maryam and I got to some things that can be more helpful. You've probably heard me talking about Palooza shoes, and I want to talk to you a little more about this. So when you go and look at the shoe, you may be like, oh, that's a interesting looking shoe, because it separates all the toes, which is great for your feet. They use a technology called 5-toe articulation, which is a separate slot for each of your toes, which allows for the correct dynamic movement of the foot through your walking or running stride. And if you're someone like me who doesn't have great feet, this is really, really important. I've had to work with my feet a lot. Now, when you look at Palooza shoes, they look different because we haven't been conditioned to look at shoes like this. Now, if you look at a glove, you don't think anything of it. You think, oh, a glove. But if all you had ever seen your whole life was a mitten, you would think a glove looks weird, but try to do anything with a mitten, right? You need a glove. Why should your toes be any different? So if you want to give your feet the best in terms of support and longevity, I highly encourage you to check out Paloova shoes. They are best of class in the 5-toe articulation. And when you put on a pair of Palouvas, you're getting an automatic foot strengthening effect, a toe spacer effect, and a healing effect from the damage caused by regular shoes. So I wear them as much as I can, especially when I'm walking, and I've noticed a difference with my feet. So I want you to try a pair of Palouvas with no risk, and you'll realize that these are the most comfortable shoes you've ever worn. They're designed to feel like you're walking barefoot. So visit Paloova, PELUVA.com, and use the code Christine for 10% off your first pair. Again, PELUVA.com, and use the code Christine for $10 off your first pair. And now on to my coaching session with Maryam. Maryam, welcome to the show. How can I help?
Thank you so much, Christine. I'm one of the few million Iranians in the diaspora, and I moved to Norway as a 22-year-old girl, and ever since I've been working hard, studying. I made a life for myself. I met the love of my life. He's the kindest man on the planet, and I have my soul friends here. But I'm not really happy because of what's going on in my country. My whole family lives in Iran. And yeah, it's heartbreaking what's going on in the world, especially after the massacre in January this year. I struggle with my sleep. I don't know. I cannot really show up 100% for myself and for my husband. He's very empathetic and very kind and understanding. And but still, I just feel guilty on different levels, because, I cannot be for him, the way he shows up for me. I cannot reciprocate also while I'm having this freedom and this lifestyle that I have created for myself, my family and loved ones, and also my people, it's not just my family, are suffering so much.
And that part, I don't know that I'll be able to help much with, because it's traumatic and awful. And especially, family there and culturally being from there, you're going to feel that.
Yeah.
And that, from my perspective, is appropriate. Don't you agree? Do you feel like some of the things you're feeling and experience are appropriate given what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the thing is that we Iranians experience a trauma, at least of such scale, at least twice a year. Because something always goes on. This one was the worst because, they killed around 50,000 people in 2 days. And also for us, it's very difficult because we are fighting with the regime and also the whole world in a way, because, the governments don't listen to us. They even censor us, the media. And also people, they gaslight us. They speak over us and misrepresent us. They think they know better than us, not having lived 1 minute under the dictatorship, but they think that they know things, better than us, and they gaslight us. So it's been extremely difficult to just navigate all this, excruciating, very frustrating and exhausting.
Yeah. I can't even imagine the multi-layers of how difficult this is. How I would love to focus our call, I'd love to focus on how I can best support you. I wish I could do something globally. I think so many of us feel that way. In so many ways, I feel powerless when it comes to world events. But you and I talking right now, my intention is, how can I support you in your life, in your marriage, with your nervous system? Would that be okay if that's where we focus today?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So you said something earlier about feeling guilty regarding your marriage, that you don't feel like you're giving your husband, everything he's giving you. And in relationship, in so many ways, it's not tit for tat. We give in different ways. We show up for each other in different ways, especially when one person's going through something. Where's your husband from?
He's from Ecuador.
Okay.
Yeah.
So different cultural backgrounds as well, right? So different experiences there.
Yeah.
But I love, because I hear a lot of judgment and I hear a lot of criticism. And when we feel guilty about the support that we're getting, it makes it hard for the support to be healing. And adding to your own suffering and feeling guilty, feeling bad will add to your suffering. Like you've got enough that you're carrying both for yourself and collectively. I'd love to help you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah. So the best you can, if you look underneath, why you think you feel guilty when you're being supported. I'm sure you've thought about this a little bit. What comes up for you?
It's just that, if it was like a one-time thing, I would completely agree with you. But as I told you, we experienced this over and over. And I feel like, I don't think it's fair for him really to go through this much because we both are highly sensitive. So he really feels my pain. And I think it is just so unfair because he got married to me because we could also experience, and of course, as I told you, it's like a really fulfilling marriage.
Yes.
But
well,
yeah.
And here's the thing that I'm just going to remind you, life isn't fair. It just isn't. This human dimension and world, it's not. In so many ways, it makes no sense. It's not fair. The world's living in a constant state of trauma and pain in so many ways. But I want to ask you, how does he feel about this? Is he saying, I can't do this anymore? This is too much for me. This isn't fair. What is he saying?
No, he says that it's my pleasure to be here with you. He always says that, and he means it. He really has integrity, and that's how I feel. Like he's
okay. So I want to ask you then. I want to ask you, how does it serve you to cause yourself additional pain and suffering when he's saying, I love you, I'm here? How does it serve you?
No, I don't think it does really.
Well, there's always a payoff to what we're doing. Even if it doesn't make logical sense, there's always a payoff.
Maybe it's like for me to motivate myself to just disconnect a little bit from the misery of my homeland. And I don't know, it sounds strange, like to motivate myself. Okay, this has to stop, and now I have to focus on myself and my marriage. And maybe, I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you a question. How does focusing and tapping so much into the pain of your homeland help the situation over there?
Not much, really. I decided like this time in January, I decided to just start activism. So I have participated in like all of demonstrations and just got into the group and tried to mobilize and wrote to the politicians. And so I tried.
And how has
that
felt for you?
It felt like a little bit better, but there has been no result, to be honest, because
because it's such a global, huge issue that one person or even a small group of people can't take on. So again, that's not, right now, right here, this conversation between you and I, what I would love to move you toward is allowing yourself to experience love and support. Sometimes what can happen when we're in like a collective trauma, like you are, for lack of a better term, we can have a bit of survivor's guilt, a bit of, so many of my people are suffering. I should be suffering too. It may not be a logical thought, but that can happen. So there's almost like kind of a part of you that is having a hard time letting the good in and letting the support in. And what I want to say to you, for what it's worth, is like, that's okay to do. That's healthy to do. By you letting love and support in, you're not going to become, any less of an activist. You're not going to care any less. You're just going to eliminate one level of suffering that you actually can control. Because the suffering that's going on globally, none of us can control that. We can't. But you're choosing into some suffering that, from my perspective, and again, I'm just a person over here, so you got to take what resonates with you. From my perspective, is just causing you unnecessary suffering on top of the appropriate and pain that makes sense given what's going on. So what are you hearing me say?
Yeah, that it's okay for me to receive the love of support.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not to feel guilty about that. It just, I guess I can understand it, like, intellectually. I need to incorporate it.
Well, and if the roles were reversed, how would you feel supporting your husband if he was going through something similar?
Yeah, I would be there for him, definitely 100%, and would do exactly what he does now. Just, like, talk about it if he wants to, just go for long walks, just let him be vulnerable and cry as much as he wants.
But you'd want him to feel guilty about it, right?
No, definitely not.
Exactly.
It's true.
It's okay for you to feel safe. It's okay for you to feel loved. It's okay for you to feel supported. And sometimes when our nervous system is so orientated to chaos, threat, trauma, tragedy, that the love, the support can feel sometimes overwhelming. And we can push it away, even though logically, support's great, right? A loving husband's great. But when we have all of this intensity in our nervous system, it can almost feel overwhelming. And so part of what you may be doing is trying to calibrate. And the guilt is kind of helping you calibrate, because it's like, okay, I can take this much good, but I'm going to throw in some suffering too, because I'm not used to like this much love and this much safety and this much support. Mm-hmm. So your system's calibrating to that. And in a way, Maryam, that's activism as well.
Yeah.
Because not many women from your homeland feel that way. And you are an activation for what it can feel like to receive support from a man in a healthy way, to be safe, physically and emotionally safe with a man. Can that be a piece of your activism as well?
It makes sense. Yeah.
How does it feel in your body to think of it that way?
A bit less guilt-free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I imagine that it would be a gift to your husband if you really let his love in. Because to him, that's how, especially for men and the masculine, they want to feel purposeful, right? They want to feel, he probably feels helpless too. And if he's loving you and supporting you and you're having guilt and energetically you're kind of pushing it away somewhat because you feel so guilty, then he's going to feel like helpless. So by receiving his support, you're allowing him to feel purposeful.
Mhm.
And it's not like you're creating problems, right? It's not like every day you're creating a different problem that you have control over. You're responding and reacting to things completely out of your control. So now it's happening in your body.
I feel calmer.
Yeah. So just close your eyes for a moment and imagine your husband just being there and supporting you. You know, something else happens, you hear about something else, you're activated, and he's just there loving you, going for walks, holding your hands, letting you cry on his chest. How does that feel?
Feel safe.
Yeah. And even, you know, if it resonates with you in those moments where you feel safe and supported, you can send that feeling of safety and supportiveness to people in your homeland who aren't feeling that way, and doing, you know, sending that energy.
That sounds lovely. Yeah.
And it's okay to receive just for you as well. Your suffering doesn't help suffering, doesn't make any others suffer less.
No, not really. Actually, I think it's multiplies it in a
Exactly.
way.
Exactly. So moving forward, what do you see as an opportunity in your life?
I feel really blessed, to have this man, this support, this much love in my life. I really need to be more conscious about this because, like I automatically, like the scenario that you just told us, that like I cry on his shoulder, he hugs me, we go for a walk, and then immediately I say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." So just not saying this, or not feeling sorry really, because
Yes.
yeah.
Trade those words out for thank you, I love you. I'm so glad you're here with me. I'm grateful. Grateful we're here together.
Mhm.
Yeah, you apologizing for being loved and supported, it doesn't serve anyone.
True.
Yeah. Has this helped?
Yes, it does. And what you said also about him feeling helpless, it was also true.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want to do this for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And you can. You know, again, your system, from my perspective, is recalibrating to safety, right? When there's an imprint of not safety, put it as simply as I can. And so as, you know, he's loving you and supporting you, just remind yourself like, it's safe. I'm recalibrating. It's safe to let this in. Because it's a perspective shift. And it sounds like you got that. And then it's also it's a somatic shift too. It's a nervous system shift of allowing yourself to expand into intimacy, to receive love and support, and to, you know, feel the safety in your own life, in your own present moment, you know, while at the same time being tapped into what's going on collectively. And to like let it be okay to not always be tapped into that. To let it be okay to come into your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying turn your back. I'm not saying put your head in the sand. I'm not saying all of that, any of that. Well, what do you hear me saying?
in order to be able to give love to my husband and to my people, I need to receive love and be okay with it.
Yes. And not feel like you always have to be tethered to the suffering in order to help.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a breath. Do you feel in this moment safe and supported?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from that place where your nervous system is feeling safe and supported, can you just send that energy to your people?
I'm doing it right
now. Me too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maryam, for your vulnerability. Thank you for advocating for yourself. That's a big step when we feel like we have to advocate for others, to set the time aside to raise our hand and go, you know what, actually, I would like some support. I would like to advocate for myself. That is huge. And so I really acknowledge her for that. And to any of you listening who've been in a pattern of helping, of putting yourself last, of not receiving, anytime you raise your hand and advocate for your needs, say, I need help, I need support, I want help, I want support, that's huge. That's breaking a pattern. And so I want to, again, just deeply acknowledge you for that. And for Maryam, you know, she's navigating a lot of complex trauma. And as I talked about in the beginning of the show, sometimes the tendency is to feel like we have to suffer as a way to help, as a way to feel connected, as a way to feel like we're doing something. And this can be a conscious thought or it can be very subconscious. And so the question I pose to her and to all of you is, how does your suffering help relieve suffering? And usually it doesn't. Now, that doesn't mean we, like I said in the show, put our head in the sand and we ignore things that are going on in the world, in our family, in our community, in our state, whatever it may be. We can be activists. We can feel like we're making a difference, but in areas we can control, or we can at least have some impact, because I never think we have like 100% control all the time. As in Maryam's relationship with her husband, we can choose differently without guilt, because I can't think of a good reason why she should feel guilty to receive her husband's support at all. And I don't know that she really could either. And it leaves him feeling helpless. So for all of you that have trouble receiving support out there, I want you to consider rejecting it, feeling guilty about it. You're preventing someone from giving a gift to you. And it feels really good to be helpful. And I notice with Maryam, it's easy to see, oh, if this person was having a hard time, I'd totally be there for them. And I wouldn't want them to feel guilty about it. But when it comes to us, it's like, oh, but when it's me, I'm going to feel guilty. And I get it from a psychological perspective. But if we look at from like a personal development, moving forward kind of perspective, it just doesn't make sense. So we have to see it. We have to see that we're doing it. Go, oh, of course I'm doing it. It makes so much sense that I would feel guilty. And it also doesn't make sense. So I can see why I've done this in the past. And I'm really going to work on not doing this in the future. There's enough suffering in our world. You have enough suffering in your life. Please don't create more. All right, everyone. That's our show for today. Sending you so much love and many blessings. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Life Coaching. I hope something you heard today resonated with you and helped you to see yourself with more clarity and compassion. Remember, every shift, no matter how small you think it is part of your healing. If this episode supported you, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving a review. It means the world to me. If you'd like to connect with me, come say hi on Instagram at Christine Hassler. And if you feel called to be coached live on the show, you can apply at christinehassler.com/waitlist. For courses, retreats, and more resources to support your journey, visit christinehassler.com. You're not alone in this journey, and I'm grateful to walk it with you. Until next time.